Teallach, arguably Scotland's most dramatic mountain, and a frequent favourite among those who like to spend time high in the mountains here. This week's video sees me climbing the ridge in the dark, before catching a beautiful sunrise over the jagged pinnacles that make this peak so distinctive. This mountain occupies a special distinction for me, and I reminisce about past times in this high place.
My name's Feargus. This is the middle of nowhere. There's some proper Scottish wildlife. Domestic life, I should say. Good evening to you all, or good morning if you're watching this in the morning. But for me, it's the evening. I'm setting out at 5 o'clock to head up for a ridge camp. So not quite on the summit, but a long way up on the spectacular ridge of Teallach, which is often regarded as one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful, of all of Scotland's Munros. I'm pretty tired. I have just driven straight from the car park below Sullivan, which I did last night. If you saw the previous video, you would have seen it. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. I climbed the mountain with my paraglider, and after some trials and tribulations because of awkward winds this morning, I flew down. So that was cool. But for tonight, I'm taking it a bit more easy. My bag is smaller, lighter. That makes a big difference. So I'm gonna try and get up to the ridge before it's properly dark. I'm not the fastest of walkers. If it's 5 o'clock, then that gives me about 3.5 hours to set up camp, and then I'm hopefully gonna get some sleep because I slept really badly last night. So onwards and upwards. I probably won't be faffing too much with the camera on the way up, but we'll see. Shelter at last. God, I'm tired. So much for getting up here in 3.5 hours. It's nearly 11 o'clock. But then I am really tired. I got 4 hours of bad sleep. 4. Last night in my lightweight tent. I'm glad I've got my cozy bomb-proof tent with me tonight. But I've made it up to the ridge of Teallach. I'm currently camped up on Teallach, and I'm on quite a bit of a slope actually, which is not the end of the world, but not the best. I've actually camped on this ridge before, many years ago, back in 2009, and I know that there is a lovely cozy spot with flat soft grass somewhere up here, and I was searching around for a while, and I suspect that it's actually further on the ridge, but this peak has completely clagged in with cloud, and it's so hard to see anything, and there are drop-offs on the sides and stuff, so after a little bit of searching I decided that I'm better off just finding something up here, and this'll do. And I really wanted to get out of the wind anyway and actually get some sleep. It's not that cold, but then that's what was predicted, hence the fact that there's an inversion forecast, so fingers crossed in the morning those clouds are going to drop down and we'll get some amazing views and photographs. I really got to go to sleep now. Good night all. Well, I found the camp spot. It's a little pond that I remember. This would have been a far more level place to put the tent. Just up here. Oh, wow, that's a drop. That's a real drop. So, the ridge of the mighty Teallach. That there is Lord Berkeley's seat. So there and here are one of the scariest places in Scotland. It's a sheer drop, a couple of 100 meters down, although there's a ledge sticking out there. But from the seat, there is a sheer drop into a scary looking gully. Oh, spectacular. Spectacular. Right, I better get some pictures.
Well, the sun is gone. I got a few pictures before it disappeared behind that rapidly growing bit of cloud. No inversion either. There is in other places. You can see it on the horizon towards the east and the north, but not here. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. This is an amazing mountain. It's not my first time up here. It's my third time up here. It was actually the very first mountain that I ever climbed in Scotland back in 2003 with my then girlfriend, now wife, Aoife. We came up for my first visit to Scotland actually, and I had got somewhat obsessed that this was the mountain that I had to climb if I was going to climb anything. Particularly because I had seen a half-hour documentary about climbing this with Cameron McNeish, and I noticed Lord Berkeley's seat. It just made my eyes light up because at the time I was an active base jumper and it looked like the perfect place to do a jump. Although I was winding down at that point, I'd had a couple of scares, but I still hadn't completely decided to give up, so I was very keen on coming up here to do a recce. I mean, this spot is particularly dangerous, but even on other spots on the mountain. I'm starting to think about the approaching winter, of course, and there are some mountains which I will never do in the winter, especially being a father, and this is one of them, because in icy conditions this is just lethal. It looks absolutely beautiful from what I've seen in pictures from those conditions, but I just would not be prepared to take the risk. There are too many incidents that happen on this mountain. This isn't the highest point on the ridge. The highest point on the ridge is over there. But I'm knackered. I'm not a morning person. And yet, here I am. I do it for the beauty, for the solitude, for the photographs. But I'm going to go back to the tent now for a bit. I might have a nap before going down. I'll have a think about it. I really needed that sleep. I was struggling a hell of a lot on the way back from the top of the mountain. It didn't occur to me to bring a snack because I didn't really expect to be away hiking up and down for, what was it, almost 4 hours. I got really hungry. With so little sleep for the past 2 nights, my blood sugar was low and I was just kind of really hanging and a little bit out of it, a little bit spaced out. It's hot out there today. One place which I absolutely love on this mountain is the loch down inside the corrie. I camped there a couple of years ago before I started making videos and got some lovely shots. But I'd really like to go back in full winter conditions when it's just covered in ice and snow all the way down to the water, maybe even a little bit frozen. So that's something I'm earmarking for the coming winter if I get the right day. Also on the way back, there were the mountain goats dotted about that live high up on Teallach, at least in the summer they do, and they just don't bat an eyelid. Obviously they're mountain goats when it comes to wandering around on slopes that are lethal. I mean, it's pretty exposed, and it would be not much of a mistake to just stand on a loose rock and off you go down the cliff. It's crazy to think about. Nearly there now. Another half hour or so back to the car park. Should be seeing the cows again soon. I realized yesterday as I was driving here that I don't really talk an awful lot about the photography that I do. And I think in the beginning when I started making these videos, I figured there's enough people who are making instructional stuff when it comes to photography and landscapes and so forth, that there's no point in me adding to all of that. But on the flip side, I do show my photographs. People might be interested. So give me a shout in the comments below if that's something that you would like to see more of. And I might do a little bit more of going into what I actually do on my photography, because it might be different from some other people's doing it in terms of what gear I carry in and so forth, because I'm normally going well beyond what one subscriber described as the honeypot locations, the places where you don't have to go very far and you know you're going to get a wonderful picture, and an awful lot of people take pictures of the same place. So I'm trying to find places which I'm not aware of before I go. That is my approach. So all that remains is for me to ask you to give the video a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And another thing which would be great, a big help, is if you know anybody who might be into this sort of content, share it with a friend or more than one friend, and that would be great. So I'm gonna go home, get my dinner, give my little boy and my wife a kiss, and sleep in a bed tonight. Yeah. Till next time, have a good autumn.